Today is Sunday, September 1st, 11:41 p.m. I've been thinking about this for more so recently than in the past. Of course, when I started on this uh, journey to becoming a CPT, I didn't think much about it, the rewards, the benefits, and how my life would transform. The only thing that I had in my thinking was that I had to pay a debt, and if I were to succeed at this as a day trader, then I would be able to substantially accelerate the pace of paying off my debt. That was the initial thinking that I had. Now that I'm looking at, I don't know how far this journey is going to go, but now I'm thinking a little more about what possibly will happen. The long awaited, the consequences of, I suppose there is a duality of understanding new concepts that are totally foreign to me. As a convicted felon for the past 4 years, and now fully appreciating the the life of a convicted felon, uh, seems to be the same way. It seems as though that I have fully understood. It seems like I have fully gained understanding of what life is as a convicted felon. Now, I suppose so if I were to flip this around and try to understand it, the eve of becoming a convicted felon, which means the state of Idaho has essentially put in public record as a convicted felon of me. Before that, there was a traumatic event that occurred that had to be worked out to negotiate a specific agreement. But before that event occurred, I was living in a state of essentially a totally different world. Before even thinking about, before a word called felony crossed my mind, I was essentially living in a world totally void of that word, essentially, and its full impact of that word impacting my life. So essentially, at that moment, that meant that I could apply for any position as an engineer anywhere in the world. I could travel. I could, and my name was totally void of that ball and chain that was about to be placed upon me for the rest of my life. And so when that occurred, there was there was essentially there was a subconscious peace. There was a subconscious peace that was within me that gave me permission to roam about freely wherever, whenever, whoever, at any time, whatever I my my capability was, whatever situation it is, I could do at that moment. But at the instance of that turmoil, the dark clouds that formed to transition into a felon, then that whole subconsciousness disappeared, and then limitations started to come forth. And out of that subconsciousness, the the understanding of what is going on in a new life for me started to emerge. Now, I suppose it's like, I suppose it's like, it seemed to be like, I suppose it's like on a petri dish. There is a bacteria that grows, and that bacteria uh, has a harmful bacteria in it. But as soon as I place a penicillin on it, it starts to eradicate it. It starts to eat away at the harmful bacteria and clear the area. And that means that whatever the damage that I have incurred as a convicted felon, a success as a CPT will allow me to erase most of the harmful impact of that social prison, social and economic prison. And I can do things that closely mimic what I used to be able to do as a free man. And so what is the success? What is the success to me as a CPT? It is essentially it is essentially a whole new life. It is essentially allowing me to it is essentially, despite the debilitation of uh, that conviction, I am able to closely mimic the life that I used to have. So essentially, it is life. It is it is essentially gaining the life that I used to have. The success that I will have will bring about the life that I used to have. And so I don't know how long this eve will continue. I don't know how long this journey to getting to that finish line where I finally see that movement of parabolic return occurs. However, uh, once that occurs, it is essentially a whole new life. It is it is essentially it is essentially regaining. It is re- essentially it is essentially at the doorstep of regaining what I used to have, and it is the beginning of a whole new life. It is essentially, uh, it is essentially, it is essentially my success as a CPT in exchange for the word FELON is the CPT which will negate the full impact of the FELON and is replaced by the CPT to transform into a whole new life. So essentially, it all comes back to that equation again of FELON plus CPT is equal to a whole new life. So that is essentially what I'm working for. That is something what I'm working towards. That is essentially that is essentially uh, the sacrifices that I have made, the losses that I've incurred, the estrangement of my own family, the the 4 years of the 4 years of sitting and and wear and tear on everything that I had, and strictly living in this foxhole, this living in this single position right in front of this trading environment, fully engaged for the past 4 years to get to the point where the equation is to become and create a new life where I will regain what I've lost. That that is the reason why I have, despite the fact that it has been so difficult. It's so simple, but it's so difficult. So I should make a t-shirt that says simple in the front, but it's difficult. Simple, it's simple, but it's difficult. It's very, very simple, but it's difficult. So So this journey is essentially to create a whole new life. And at that finish line, when I started on this journey, my thought was, oh, my family will be there. My kids will be there. My ex wife will be there. Uh, there will be the prizes at the end of it. This race is not about who finishes first, it's about whether I finish the race or not finish the race. When I finish that race, every time somebody crosses the line, a whole new strip is placed there for that individual to get to that point of finishing this marathon, this journey. So there could be a billion people who start the race. Many will fall out, drop off, and not finish. But those people who finish, whoever finishes, not whoever finishes first, will have a whole, essentially a additive, or a, in this case, in my case, a whole new life that I've created for myself with the help of God, that I am there at the finish line to acquire the things that I have lost. That is the driving force. It's a, for me, on a personal level, I've been thinking about this and I've been thinking about it for quite a while, but not to this extent where now maybe, just maybe, I'm at a point where truly I'm at the doorstep of being a CPT. Is it premature or is it valid? I don't have substantial data to prove it, but for the past couple of weeks, uh, on a simulated level, I was able to practice what I have gained for the past 4 years to make positive gains. And so, if I use that as a springboard to move forward, then essentially what I will have is essentially a whole new life. And I thought to myself, and I thought to myself, it's a good thing this is just for me. I don't know if anybody, why would anybody be listening to this? But this is so essentially, essentially, when I, essentially, essentially, that's it. It's essentially a whole new life. It's a whole new life. And it's taken almost 4 years. It's taken almost 4 years to get to this point. Yeah, almost 4 years.